Oh my god, I never thought it would happen, but in last night's episode of 90 Day Fiance, Syngin finally stood up for himself and threatened to leave Tania. Yeah, you heard that right. They are married, Tania and Syngin. I don't know if you guys don't remember them, but a couple seasons ago they got married. They had a god-awful relationship, and Tania even went as far as one time to tell Syngin that he is not her soulmate. So yeah, as you can see, it's a one-sided relationship. For some reason, Syngin is obsessed with Tania, and he would do anything for her. Well, finally, last night he went to her, they were having dinner, and he pretty much just said, if we can't figure this stuff out, if we can't figure out our issues, and if you want me to stay here in America, this isn't gonna work and I am going to have to leave. I never thought this day would ever come. I am so happy for Syngin. In last night's episode, they were fighting. They were fighting a ton, and Tania just nitpicks at everything with Syngin. And don't get me wrong, Syngin, he's not the perfect guy by any means, but he's a free spirit, he's a nice guy, and she was complaining now that he has a little bit of a partying problem. The guy parties a lot more than he probably should on a healthy basis. So she was complaining, she was nagging, she was trying to get him to, stop partying as much and work on trying to get a job, and Syngin did get pretty upset, and he started kind of, saying more stuff that, hey, I don't want to stay here in America. I don't want to raise kids here. And one thing after another, Tania, she kind of acts surprised, like she had no idea, and maybe she did have no idea, but it was one thing after another, and finally he dropped the bombshell and just said, if you expect me to stay here and raise kids with you in America, I'm not doing it, and I will not be able to stay with you. I don't know what is going to happen with Tania and Syngin. Like I said earlier, I never wanted them to get married, and even Syngin said, we have a lot of problems, but because we only had 90 days to get married, we didn't have a choice, and we had to pull the trigger and just get married because we were running out of time. So Tania and Syngin, not looking good for them, and I have absolutely no idea if they are still together. We will have to wait and see. And real quick, let me just mention, if you guys don't already follow me on Instagram, give me a follow. I'll put a link above or below this video. I keep saying this because then you guys can message me, and I love talking with you guys. So many of you guys have already been messaging me. I love to chat back and forth. I don't see a lot of the comments on the YouTube and Facebook videos, but on Instagram, I see everything. So if you want to talk with me and chat and have a good time, talk reality TV at 90 Day Fiance, I'm going to put a link above or below this video. Make sure to give me a follow on Instagram. Now, back to the rest of this video. And for the other couples, let's jump right into the coward, the toddler of this season, and that is Asuelu. Kalani and Asuelu, and guys, seriously, I am like this close to, going over to Utah, sitting down with Asuelu and having a legitimate talk with him. If Kalani's dad doesn't. However, I think we can cross our fingers and only hope that Kalani's dad is going to have a really serious, genuinely legitimate, scary talk with him. He is upset. If you guys missed the news, Kalani and Asuelu, they have been fighting like crazy. In this last episode, it was their kid, Oliver's birthday. So they were in California, they went out there for a trip, they had some friends over, they had a birthday party, and the whole time, Asuelu was locking himself in his bedroom, and he wouldn't come out, he wouldn't be polite, he wasn't talking to Kalani's parents or Kalani's sister. He was being like a 4-year-old spoiled brat. That is the only way to describe him, you guys. I am done with him. I was sitting there and I was just so mad it's not even funny. And you gotta remember, Kalani's dad is a gigantic person. He is huge, and Asuelu's big too, but if you look at the two together, Kalani's dad is bigger. He is, a scary guy. And so he was even starting to get really upset because Kalani and Kalani's mom, they were telling the dad, what kind of went down, and that Asuelu was being inappropriate and rude, and he was all over the place just being a horrible husband and dad, and Kalani's dad was hearing that and he was not having it. But unfortunately, because it was Oliver's birthday, he agreed to keep his cool, and finally at the end of their segment, Asuelu came out of the bedroom, all of the guests were there for the birthday party, he finally came out, and Kalani's dad pulled him to the side and said, hey, you better put your act together. And the problem I have with Kalani's dad is the guy is just too calm for Asuelu. He needs to step it up a notch and really do something to get some fire in Asuelu, or Asuelu needs to pack his bags and get out of here right now. And that is where I think that we are with Kalani and Asuelu. I was never the biggest fan of Kalani. Sure, you can say Asuelu, he is homesick, he's sad, he's young. Come on, I'm 23, this guy is 24. He is the most immature person I have ever met in my entire life. And he's not that young. He's 24, maybe even 25 now. Come on, he is immature, he is lazy, he is rude, he is a horrible person on this show. At least he is portrayed that way on the show. I'm over him, and thank God it looks like in the next upcoming episode, Kalani's dad has an actual talk with Asuelu, and he says, I guess, that he is okay, getting physical with him if it's needed. And I hope to God that that might actually come down to it, because I don't see how else you can talk some sense into this guy. He is all over the place, and it is really starting to annoy me. Oh, and we saw Debbie and Colt and Jess. Debbie and Colt made it to Brazil. Debbie, long story short, was so unbelievably mad. She was tired, she was cranky, she was grumpy. All she wanted to do was get to the hotel room, go to sleep, and I guess she was going to be magically cured and happy and everything else, but she was freaking out. And even at one point when they got to the hotel, they finally made it there, they landed, Jess picked them up, they got to the hotel, and yeah, the three of them are sharing one room. There's kind of a divider. It's technically 2 rooms, but it's like 2 mini rooms in a big room, so it's kind of awkward that the 3 of them are sharing a big room. But anyway, Debbie was freaking out. She was going crazy. She was telling Jess, I need to go to sleep right now. And it got so bad, she was even telling Jess, if I don't go to sleep right now, in about 30 minutes, you guys are going to take me to the hospital. So I don't know how or why sleep would help her and what was going on, but I can pretty much tell you guys that from the time that they landed and Jess picked them up to the time that they got to the hotel, Jess and Colt were being romantic. They were all over each other, and it was pretty gross to see. A little bit too much PDA, and Debbie was not happy. Debbie, she's a control freak. She wants to control her son. I don't know if she just wants her son's attention or what is wrong with her, but she does not want Colt to be with Jess. That is clear as day. And so when they were holding hands and being romantic, Debbie was not happy. And then a second or two after that, that is when she exploded and said, I need to go to sleep. She was cranky, she was grumpy. So I have a feeling that this whole thing of her freaking out has something to do with Jess and Colt being all romantic and happy together, which I am just so shocked to see. It's weird seeing Colt with Jess. Kind of gross, I'm going to be honest, but whatever, that is their relationship. And Angela made it to Nigeria. That was kind of funny, kind of sad. She said goodbye to her mom. She flew over to Nigeria, and surprisingly, Michael rented them an apartment. And the craziest thing is, the apartment was like super Americanized, I thought at least. Like, it looked like they were just in modern, Midwest America. It didn't look like they were in Nigeria. Everything about the house was really American looking. I thought that was just so weird and odd, and just it was kind of out of place, kind of. But Michael rented them the apartment because Angela and Michael, they wanted to be together in like a real living situation before they actually tied the knot and got married, which, for Angela and Michael, because they're usually not the most logical thinking people, it was actually kind of a good idea. Let's jump over to Larissa, and guess what, guys? Larissa and her ex, Eric, they met for a little bit of a date. They kind of hashed out their differences. Larissa was talking about, why she thought that the relationship didn't work in the past. So did Eric. One thing led to another, and boom, now they are back together. I posted a video a day or two ago, saying that I thought that Eric and Larissa got back together, and that just seems to be the case. Larissa even posted on social media, and so did Eric, that hey, we are back together. So Eric and Larissa, they got back together. And then last but not least, I think, would be Andre and Elizabeth, and they're the same thing as Kalani and Asuelu, but not as bad. They're a pretty toxic couple. They seem to kind of be able to kind of make it work. The problem with this couple is Andre is spoiled. He is an alpha male. It needs to be his way. He needs to act like he's some, manly man. He's all tough. But the reality is he is a stay-at-home dad. Nothing wrong with that. But he isn't this manly man that he has to kind of play off like he is, and that he's out, working and doing this. He's not doing any of that. He's a stay-at-home dad. Elizabeth makes the money, and that's the situation. But Elizabeth Elizabeth and Andre, they're with Andre's parents. They were even kind of talking about how, the woman has to make the food and take care of the kids and all that stuff. Then they went out with some of Andre's friends, and they were really talking about, like, hey, are you working? What are you doing? Why aren't you working? And his friends were, like, kind of almost, like, concerned, like, why don't you have a job? When you were over here in Moldova, you were a hard worker. Now you aren't a hard worker, which I find that funny. Why isn't the guy having a job? Like, if he truly genuinely wants to be a stay-at-home dad, that's fantastic. That's great. But it doesn't seem like he really wants to be. It almost kind of seems like he is just a lazy person, and he is thinking that, being a stay-at-home dad is easier than trying to find a job, which I'm not saying at all that being a parent and raising kids is easier than having a job. But that is almost like how I'm kind of feeling like he is looking at the situation, because it also kind of seems like whenever I see Andre and Elizabeth together with their daughter, it almost seems like Elizabeth is always watching her. So I don't know what kind of a stay-at-home dad he really is, but that's just how I kind of perceive it. So anyway, they were fighting, and then we saw the preview for next week's episode, and they were really, really, really fighting, and they were just bickering back and forth, and that's what I'm saying. He needs to act like he's a tough guy. He's an alpha male. He's strong. He is the head of the household, and that really isn't the situation, and I think that's starting to kind of wear on him and make him really upset. So guys, 90 Day Fiance, awesome episode last night. I actually was really entertained, and I was also pretty mad at Asuelu. I still am mad. I am so upset. So guys, I want to hear from you guys. So comment below your thoughts on last night's episode. What did you think of the couples, and what do you guys think is going to happen with Tania and Syngin? Do you think he is going to leave her? And if I had to guess, I wouldn't be shocked. I don't think it's going to be recent, but I wouldn't be shocked if in the coming months, or maybe even a year or two, he actually does just leave, because she really seems like she wants to control everything. And Syngin is kind of a free spirit, go with the flow kind of guy, so it doesn't really mesh. That is just my thoughts. And also, once again, make sure I'll put a link above or below this video. Make sure to give me a follow on Instagram. Well, thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to hit that like button, comment below, hit the subscribe button, and stay tuned for many more videos.